When Kyle Richards, the elegant, unshakable matriarch of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, began to tear up during a recent interview, the world noticed. For a woman known for her control, her grace, and her wit, that single moment of visible heartbreak stunned millions. The truth behind those tears was far more personal than fans ever expected. It wasn't a scripted housewives confession or a publicity stunt. It was a real, raw admission that shook even those closest to her. Her longtime husband, luxury real estate magnate Mauricio Umansky, was battling a private crisis that had gone unseen by the cameras. Theirs wasn't just another reality TV couple. It was a marriage that had once symbolized Hollywood loyalty, the fairy tale union of glamour and grounded devotion. But now, after nearly 3 decades together, their love was being tested in ways neither fame nor fortune could protect them from. A perfect beginning, a public love. To understand the pain of that on-air moment, we need to rewind. In the early 1990s, Kyle Richards was a rising star with a famous family name and a reputation for resilience. Mauricio Umansky was a charismatic, self-made businessman from Mexico who had quietly built his reputation in real estate. They met at a party, and from the start, their chemistry was undeniable. Kyle once said in an early interview, "When I met Mauricio, it wasn't about fame, it was about home." They married in 1996, had 4 daughters, and quickly became one of Bravo's most admired couples, the kind of pair viewers pointed to and said, "That's real love." On screen, Kyle played the role of the devoted wife and mother, always protecting her family amid the drama of Beverly Hills. Mauricio was her anchor, calm, charming, endlessly loyal. Even when the cameras stirred chaos among friends, Kyle could count on Mauricio to bring balance. Their marriage wasn't just strong, it was aspirational. But like many fairy tales, this one carried unseen shadows, the cracks no one saw. As Mauricio's company, the agency, exploded into international success, the dynamic at home began to shift. The demands of fame and business stretched their time together thin. Kyle was filming full seasons of RDOBH, navigating the shifting alliances, betrayals, and the scrutiny that comes with being both a reality star and a mother. Mauricio was closing multi-million-dollar deals, flying between countries, running one of the most powerful real estate firms in the world. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But behind the gates of their Los Angeles mansion, small fractures began to form. Missed dinners, emotional distance, quiet arguments about time, attention, and priorities. And then, the health scare. It wasn't Mauricio's business empire that first shook their world. It was his health. In 2023, close friends began to whisper about Mauricio's unexplained fatigue and rapid weight loss. Kyle, ever the caretaker, insisted he see a doctor. What began as a routine checkup turned into something far more serious. The diagnosis was unclear at first, a cluster of medical complications that required ongoing treatment and long-term observation. While it wasn't immediately life-threatening, it was serious enough to force Mauricio to slow down for the first time in decades. For Kyle, the fear was suffocating. The hidden strain behind the smile. During filming of RDOBH's 13th season, fans began to notice a change in Kyle. Her usual lightness seemed replaced by restraint. She had lost weight, appeared more introspective, and there was a quiet sadness in her tone that longtime viewers hadn't seen before. Rumors exploded. Allegations of infidelity, emotional distance, even secret separations. What few realized, however, was that much of Kyle's exhaustion came not from betrayal, but from worry. She was caring for a husband who was physically drained and emotionally frustrated, while also managing her public image and family obligations. The cameras kept rolling, but the truth was rarely captured. Imagine coming home after a day of filming emotional scenes, only to find the person you love most struggling silently in another room. Imagine smiling for producers while your heart was breaking in private. That was Kyle's reality. When silence becomes too heavy. Eventually, silence became its own burden. During a Watch What Happens live appearance, when asked about the state of her marriage, Kyle's voice cracked. She tried to laugh it off, but the tremor in her words betrayed her composure. In another interview weeks later, she finally broke. Tears filled her eyes as she admitted, "We've been through a lot. More than people know. Some things you just can't control." That was the moment fans realized something deeper was happening, something beyond gossip headlines or reality TV editing. Behind that tearful confession was a wife terrified of losing the man she built her life with. Mauricio's quiet strength. Friends describe Mauricio as the kind of man who never complains, even when he should. When his health issues surfaced, he refused to let them define him. He continued to work, to show up, to fight. But those closest to him could see the exhaustion in his eyes. One friend said, "He's the type who would rather collapse in private than show weakness in public." He didn't want pity. He wanted peace. Mauricio's mantra became simple: gratitude. He told Kyle, "Whatever happens, we handle it together." That small promise, quiet but unbreakable, became the thread that held their family together when everything else felt uncertain. The family unites. For their daughters, the shift at home was undeniable. Farah, the eldest, took on the role of protector, stepping in to help her mother whenever possible, quietly ensuring that the family business and emotional balance stayed intact. Alexia offered laughter when tension filled the room. Safia stayed close to her father, always watching over him with gentle vigilance. And Portia, the youngest, brought the lightness only a child can bring, asking questions no one else could and keeping love alive through innocence. The Richards Umansky home became a place of late-night prayers, whispered reassurances, and resilience forged in uncertainty. Their love, once defined by red carpets and reality TV scenes, was now measured by quiet moments: a shared glance, a hand squeezed across the kitchen table, a morning coffee brewed before dawn. A woman redefined. For Kyle, this chapter became a reckoning. She had built her career on being strong, the sister who held her family together, the friend who forgave too much, the wife who never lost composure. But in private, she was learning that strength doesn't always mean silence. During one emotional confessional on RHOBH, she said, "Sometimes people think being strong means pretending everything's fine. But the truth is, strength is letting people see you cry." It was one of the most vulnerable statements of her career. Fans flooded social media with messages of love and support. Many saw themselves in her, the partner who loves fiercely, even when life begins to feel like a series of losses. Love, tested, and transformed. As Mauricio's health stabilized and their marriage weathered its most difficult storm, something in their relationship shifted. They began to communicate differently, softer, slower, more present. The grand gestures that once defined their love gave way to smaller, deeper acts of care. Kyle stopped worrying about public perception. Mauricio stopped pushing himself to the breaking point. Together, they rebuilt, quietly, privately, authentically. There were still hard days, still moments of doubt, but they had learned that love, real love, isn't about perfection. It's about staying, even when staying hurts. The message beyond the mansion. When Kyle finally addressed her emotional moment in a follow-up interview, she didn't deflect, she didn't hide. She simply said, "I had to stop pretending that I was okay, because I wasn't, and that's okay." That statement resonated across millions of households, especially among women who have stood by partners through illness, fear, or emotional distance. Kyle's tears reminded us that even those who seem to have it all, beauty, fame, money, family, still face the same human ache for connection and certainty. Mauricio's quiet endurance reminded us that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. The public's reaction. Fans around the world flooded Kyle's social media with messages of compassion. Many shared their own stories of caregiving, of long marriages weathering invisible storms, of rediscovering what love means after crisis. Even her Bravo castmates, often quick to gossip, expressed rare empathy. One anonymous friend said, "For all the drama we show, this is the real stuff. This is what marriage actually looks like." The story became bigger than Kyle and Mauricio. It became a mirror for anyone who has ever faced life's uncertainty with someone they love. The Real Housewives of Humanity. It's easy to forget that reality stars are real people until moments like these remind us. When Kyle Richards cried on camera, she wasn't just a Bravo celebrity. She was a woman confronting fear, love, and mortality in front of millions. And when Mauricio reached for her hand, even after everything, the distance, the headlines, the pain, he reminded us what partnership really means. Love doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through the cracks. A lesson in endurance. The world often celebrates fairy tale marriages, the perfect photos, the luxurious homes, the vacations that sparkle on Instagram.